Alright, recording has started. Welcome back to Tbilisi again. This is a Sunday show, and for the first time since we started flying here, we've got a high show. Let's start with that weather report.
Sure. Yeah. So the weather as of right now, it's 3 p.m. local. Visibility, or sorry, winds are 120, 2 knots according to the METAR, but it'll be more like 6 knots at field level. Visibility 6 miles and clear, and visibility okay. Clouds, we got a broken layer at 11.4, scattered 21, 21,000, and then another scattered layer at 40,000.
Okay.
Temperature 18, dew point 1, altimeter 3006.
Alright, 3006. Alright, a little lower than last time. We're a little higher, rather, than last time. Right?
No, it's been coming down.
Okay.
We had like 302 something, and then it was 3015 last time.
Yeah, okay. Um, let's see. Scattered at 11 would be, you would put the clouds at about 8.5 at the show site, probably. So,
Mm-hmm.
should be fine for a high show, but it'll be marginal-ish. So, keep that in mind. Alright, it's going to be a high show, so it's going to be left out of chocks. You'll go trail on me, and then I'll split off left, and you will go wing. We'll stay on the right side of the runway. We'll do our solo checks on the way to the lineup and wait on Charlie. Sorry, the hold short on Charlie. We'll hold short on Charlie. I'll switch over to 9Com1 to get the word from boss, at which point we will line up and wait on the runway. Unless you want to just roll straight on. Do you want to just roll straight on tonight?
We can, yeah.
Alright. So change of plans. Gonna be left out of chocks. You'll go in trail. I will move left, and you'll take right wing. We'll do solo checks. At which point I will detach you, and you'll command the left turn and the easy left onto the runway, and then I'll command the left turn to line up and wait. At which point we will cut the winds again, and then do our section takeoff maneuver into a high show. Notes are that there's a hill behind crowd right, so just keep everything low and tight, and remember that descending gives you extra speed, all that jazz. It'll be a right turn out of the Delta breakout for a left pitcher brake to land. The stagger will be left. We will back taxi to Charlie. Actually, we'll probably hold short of Charlie and then do a solo takeoff. A solo turn right onto Charlie. I will have you in trail, and then we'll go wing on the right turn on the back taxi on the closed runway. Halfway down there, I will call for you to go out clear, and then I'll pull in front to the extreme right, at which point we'll do left 90s into chocks at like 5 knots. Other notes would be that the vertical pitch, we're going to do that at we'll try to do that at 100 again. Was that a problem for you last time?
No, I don't
Yeah.
remember it being a problem.
All right, we'll do vertical pitch at 100. Um, and yeah, that's all I got. What about you?
One other note is that the crowd line and the runway line, those headings are slightly different. So what's in the kneeboard crowd is relative to, or what's in the kneeboard card, I think is relative to crowd, and what's in like in the runway heading is different. Or either that or the kneeboard is relative to the runway and the crowd is different. But there is a difference between the two. So for any like head-on or over the back, like the OMRT, that heading is going to be slightly adjusted. Let me see if I can
I guess
Good
plus
simple
4 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so the crowd, basically the heading opens up a little bit as you head from crowd right to crowd left.
Yeah.
Um,
Alright.
yeah, that's all the notes I got for you.
What's the altitude going to be for the loop across?
Loop across will be 150.
150. Alright, Chariot's going to be 300. I'll clock the deviation when we line up for the section takeoff maneuver, and we'll fly the deviation for the whole show.
Okay.
Okay. Goals for the show. My goal is to continue working on getting those maneuver calls in within the 10-second mark, and to keep things low and tight across the hills to make sure that we're at low enough altitudes for the maneuvers that I am leading as a section.
Mm-hmm. Mine is good, safe setups with enough time for all the maneuvers that I lead. The inverted tug of a roll, section high alpha, loop break cross, and section breakout.
All right. Anything else before we break?
Don't think so.
All right. Ready to break. Switching inputs. Hello, you got me?
I'm clear. How me?
Loud and clear.
Alrighty.
The stream has you as well. I've got both of us on visual. Hiding the preview and getting rid of all the windows. Nice to have a relatively sunny day out there.
Yeah. We're gonna have to watch this cloud cover. It was not supposed to be this cloudy. Oh well.
That's my mentioning. It wasn't like a criticism, but yeah, we'll keep our eyes on it, and if we have to do a little show, we'll do a little show. We are prepared now. We're not practiced, but we're prepared.
That's true. Yeah, it's really clear to the east and less so to the west. So we'll have to watch it because the wind is out of the west.
Okay. Chart is radio on pause.
Actually, reverse that. The wind is out of the east and it is darker to the east. So anyway, web's ready to unpause as well. 3, 2, 1, unpause.
Let me know when you're ready for strap.
Web's ready for start.
Battery on, APU on, standby canopy.
Web.
3, 2, 1, mark. Standby right engine crank.
Web. Oh, really?
Right engine crank in 3, 2, 1, mark. Standby right engine forward.
Web.
Right engine forward in 3, 2, 1, mark. Standby left engine crank.
Web.
Left engine crank in 3, 2, 1, mark. Standby left engine forward.
Web.
Roll left. Roll left.
Left under forward in 3, 2, 1,
Flight
mark.
controls.
Stand by FCS.
Flight controls.
Go for FCS.
And 3, 2, 1, mark. In test.
In test. Alrighty.
Chariot's FCS is go.
Leb's FCS is go.
Two on 0 for 6.
120 for 6.
Thank you. Chariot's IFA is holding DTC. Chariot's DTC complete.
Little tree, come on.
Chariot's up to come on. Discord check.
Good check.
Takeoff jacks.
Well,
Check your smoke pressure on. Check your trim set. Check your heading 027. Check your altimeter set 2846 for a corrected center point elevation of 0 feet. Check your burn warning 0. Check your FCS 12. 30, 30, 30 down 2. Check your fuel seat arm lights out.
Web.
Check your brakes are off. Check your smoke pressure on. Smoke on. Smoke off.
Good smoke. Good morning, Chariot. Updated winds are 120 for 6. Check your altimeter set 2846 for corrected altimeter, or correction. Check your altimeter 3014 for corrected altimeter 2846 for corrected center point elevation of 0 feet and density altitude of 560 feet above sea level. Chariot squawk 1205. Leb squawk 1206. You're cleared to taxi left out of Chuck's on 12 left. Left on Charlie, and then we were rolling straight on. So line up and wait 12 right.
Thanks, Leb. Cleared to taxi. Line up and wait 12 right.
Leb.
Souls are cleared to taxi. Check your parking brakes off. Chariot's pairing up to 75%, and Chariot's rolling. Chariot's calm and left go to and trail. Ease bar to 70%, and let it roll.
Leb's rolling. You got two.
Chariot's adding power to 72%. Calm and easy left, go wing.
Leb. Give me a little more. Thank you. Leb.
Chariot, 2846 set, 0 feet barrel out.
Leb 2846, 0 feet barrel.
Chariot's easing power to 70, letting it roll. Stand by the flaps, flaps. Check your flaps half, pumps on. Chariot flaps up 3, 2, 1. 2 degrees down, barrel out.
Flaps half, pumps on, barrel.
Chariot's easing power to 68, letting it roll. Little brakes. Easy brakes, but love to attach.
Love is detached. Coming left, okay.
Little brakes. Easy brakes. Little more brakes. Coming left for lineup. Okay. Little brakes. Easy brakes. Little brakes. Brakes. Solo's magnetic variation is +1.
+1.
And we're cleared to take off. Update winds are 120 for 6. That is a headwind. Check your parking brackets off. Maneuver section, take off maneuver.
Let's rock the show.
Check parking brackets off. Let's roll up.
Off. Brakes now. Blowers ready now. Blowers ready now.
See ya.
Ready. Hit.
Tear Slayer.
Wings level smoke on. Blowers ready now. Smoke. Clear.
Tear's clear, 2 miles.
Level clear, 1.1.
Souls are circling behind the crowd for the opposing knife edge.
Left. Three miles mark. Four miles.
Let me know near beam.
A beam.
Let me know where you're taking part.
Good ticket.
Stand by, mark it, 14. Chariot's in for the right knife edge.
Up to the right of it. .10 mark. 0.1 ahead. Little. 3 miles. Mark 390. Two miles. Mark 4.
Smoke on.
Contact.
Contact squaff. Ready, hit it. Stand by, roll, and pull. Stand by, roll. Stand by, roll. Stand by, roll. Roll. Chairs clear, and clearing in front of the crowd for the opposing inverted to inverted rolls. Inverted checks complete, pumps on.
Inverter checks complete. Pump on.
2.5 mark.
That was 2.8 mark. .4 miles mark.
Let me know near beam.
Subbing.
Lunar, take a mark.
Take it.
Stand by, mark it. 43. Try for the left inverted.
What's it left? 10 seconds, mark. 0.1 ahead, 380.
Shoot.
Two miles, mark. 400, sorry.
On time. Ready, hit it. Swag on. Looking good. A little drive. Ready, hit it. Stand by, roll. And pull. 3-0.
Left.
Ease full. Rolling out. Trace clear. And clear behind the crowd for the Fortis. Coming up. Clicks coming down.
Contact.
355. 340 east and simple. Rolling out a lot of bank. Ease and more power 335. Ease and more power 320. Easeful. Rolling out. Sold on the crowd. Setting up the Fortis. Circling lights on. 300.
You'll have, sure.
Chariot. We're high. Coming left. Coming further left. Comes the pull. A little more pull. Stand by the gear. Gear. Adding power. Adding more power at the 90 for the force. Gonna fly apart.
Leb's gear down, gear hook down, flush forward.
Coming further left. Adding power. Ease and a little power. Ease in the pull. Rolling out the Fortis. Inboard to outboard.
Left.
Try set and rolling in.
Clear.
Inboard and high. 250. Center point. Trace pushing out. Rolling out. Coming back left. Set. Stand by the gear. Gear. Hook. BrotherLeb, knock it off.
Clear.
Trace clear. I'm clearing behind the crowd for the MRT, State 9-1.
Web state 88.
Trace got some weird input lag going on.
Huh.
Trace circling 5 miles for the MRT. And Trace turning in 5 miles for the MRT. Four miles, mark 350. Three miles, mark 350. Two miles, mark 350. 1.5 miles MRT. 1 mile, mark 350. Burners now. Ready, hit it. Good entry.
Flight control. Flight control.
Ease on the pull. Comes the pull. Pulling. Kicking. Chariot's pushing out. Leveling out. 1100. Coming right. Comes the pull.
Contact.
Ease of the pull. Rolling out. Smoke on. Smoke off. Easing power 385. 300. 320 easing more power. 335. Souls up on the ground, setting up the opposing MRT.
You'll have, sure.
Chariot. We're coming right. Comes the pull. Going further right. Looking for 220. 221. Ease in the pull. Rolling out. The opposing MRT. 5 right. A little pull to level. Smoke on the lead.
A little wide. Easing power, using more power. A little more power. Set.
Smoke off. Ready, hit it. Smoke on. 380 mark.
Match.
Numbers.
A little slow. Contact.
Looking good for center point, Leb.
Left.
Merge. Stand by, roll. Pull to 40. Stand by, roll.
Clear.
Roll.
Clear.
Roll. Chase clear and clearing in front of the crowd for the opposing horizontal rolls. 2.5 mark.
2.6.
Performance is not great tonight.
4 miles.
Let me know near beam.
A beam.
Lunar, take a mark.
Take it.
Stand by, rocket. 40.
Left.
Tracing for the left horizontal rolls.
To the left. Horizontal. 10 seconds. Mark. 4 miles. 360. Three miles. Mark 390. Two miles. Mark 404.
Smoke on.
Contact.
Connect. A little pull. Ready, hit it.
Roll right, roll right.
Burners. Pull. Stand by, roll. Burners. Pull. Ease on the pull. Rolling out 7-0.
7-2.
Trace coming right and circling behind the crowd for the sneak 2 vertical roll. State 7-4.
State 7-6.
Looks like the clouds are at 8.
Clouds at 8. Yeah, it might be 8-5.
Let me know.
Will do.
Trace circling 5 miles for the sneak 2 vertical rolls. And Trace turning 5 miles, sneak 2 vertical rolls on the runway. 4 miles, mark, 0.74.
Half behind.
3 miles, mark, 0.78.
Half behind.
2 miles, mark, 0.82 mil.
Do what you need.
Pull up, pull up.
1 mile, mark, 0.86 full burn. Seriously, you're 0.94.
Ready. Stand by. Roll.
Oof.
Lips clear. 10,000. Clouds 8.5.
Clouds A5, high show clears.
High show.
Just turning in 3.5 for the solo loop.
Lip.
So on. Up we go. A little more pull. Adding power. Adding more power. Vertical 5-3. Easing power. Easing more power. A little ease. Comes the pull. A little more pull. Ease the pull. Adding power. Go Diamond Stinger. Winds aloft are front of crowd to behind crowd by about 20 knots.
So backwards. Okay.
Set up outboard. So, smoke off. Sails attach. Sails are clear. Lemon on your beam.
Beam.
Lemon area to come back.
Take it.
Stand by, market. 31. Chariot's in for the right 4 point.
Up to the right 4 point. 10 seconds. Mark. Little ahead. 370. Three miles. Mark forward. Two miles. Mark forward.
Smoke on.
Contact.
Contact. Smoke off. Ready. Hit it. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Clear.
Stand by, roll, and pull. Stand by, roll. Stand by, roll. Stand by, roll.
Clear.
Roll. Chase clear and clearing in front of the crowd for the opposing vertical pitch. 2 miles mark.
1 point. That timing was my bad. I dropped power on the way in the box.
Damn it. I was on for that one. Alright.
Four miles.
11 on your beam.
A beam.
11 area, take a mark.
Take it.
Stand by, market. 0-1.
Ten seconds. Mark. Two ahead. 375.
Turns in for the left vertical pitch.
Up to the left vertical pit. 3
One-
miles. Mark 400.
100.
100. 2 miles. Mark 407.
Swag on.
Contact.
Connect. Add it up. Ready, hit it. Center point. 60. Stand by, Earl, and pull. Power's idle. 45, 40, 35, 30. Horizon. 972.
76, flip fleet.
Little more pull.
Contact 500 high.
Contact, I'm a little slow. 1.5, Mark 370.
One behind.
1 mile, Mark 380.
One behind.
Half mile, Mark 390.
Proceed.
A little pull, ready, hit it.
Roll right, roll right.
Stand by, roll, and pull. 030.
Flip.
Stand by, roll. Chairs clear, and clear behind the crowd for the inverted jug of roll.
Flaps coming up. 360.
Correct.
35. Pull. 350. $355, easy power. Ease in the pole, rolling out, 350. Ease a little more power, 350.
You'll have to, Lub.
Leb, slows by the crowd, setting up the section, or the invert tug roll.
Chariot.
We're coming left, come further left. Comes the pull, adding power, a little more pull. So it's the 90 for the invert tug roll.
Chariot, watch the altitude.
A little. Nope, no pull. Ease in the pull. Rolling out 3 miles. A little pull. Ready. Wheel inboard.
Smoke on.
Little drive. A little more drive. Ready. Clear.
Chairs clear, smoke off. Stand by, roll. Pull to 10 degrees. Stand by, roll. Rolling out. Coming left.
Inside.
Contact.
Ease the bolt and rolling out. 315. Coming left. 320. 330. A little further left. Little pull. 340. 350. 360. Ease in the pull. Rolling out. 375. Easing lots of power. 380.
You got 2, Lub.
Left. Behind the crowd, setting up the section high alpha.
Chariot.
Adding a little power. Coming left, easing lots of power. Coming further left. Comes the pull, easing more power, easing even more power. Stand by the boards. A little more pull. So the 90 for the invert, or so the section high alpha.
Chariot.
Keep pulling, we're rolling out. Inboard to outboard, we're gonna try and fix it. Easing lots of power, a little ease of the pull.
Those comms are all over the place today.
3 miles. Little left. Stand by the boards, boards. Still outboard, inboard to outboard. A little pull rolling out, a little pull. Easing power. 180. 170. 160, little pull 140. 150. 140, pull into the set, adding power. Setting it, smoke off.
Center point. Knock it off.
Left. Pull into 60. 60 coming left.
Chariot's breaking left. 360. 290 ease and power. 300 ease and some pull. Rolling out a little bank. 310. 320. 330 ease and some pull. Rolling up more bank. 340 ease and more power. Ease and the pull. Rolling out. Souls up on the crowd. Setting up the Wander. 355.
You got 2 Chariot.
Chariot. We're coming left. Coming further left comes the pull. A little more pull. A left-hand turn for the Wander.
Left.
Easing a little pull. Adding a little power. Ease in the pull. Rolling out the Wander. We're pointed low. Easing lots of power. A little pull to level. Smoke on 1.5. A little drive. 1 mile mark. Half mile mark. 10 fast. Ready. Hit it. Smoke off. Stand by. Roll. And pull.
Connect.
Ease pull. Roll out. Easing lots of power. 360. Easing the pull.
Contact.
Easing more power. 370. Easing more power. 365. Delta's behind the crowd. Send up the Delta roll. Chariot 46.
47.
Adding a little power. Coming left. Coming for the left comes the pull. A little more pull.
Got 6 spots.
Adding power. Lots of texture up here. Rolling out a little bank. We're at the 90 for the Delta roll. Ease in the pull. Roll it out. The Delta roll. Smoke on. Easing a little power. Up we go. A little more pull. Okay. That's fast. Comes the pull. Ease Ease in the pull. 2 level. Coming back left. Coming further left comes the pull. A little more pull. Left hand turn for fleur-de-lis.
Left. Clear dry.
Smoke off. Rolling out a little bank. Coming further left. Coming further left. Ease in the pull and rolling out the fleur-de-lis, adding a little power. 250 high, up we go. A little more pull. Smoke on. Ready break.
Ready.
Smoke off. Stand by, roll. And pull. Got it.
Ease the bolt and roll and out.
Crossing for your nose now at 480.
Got it.
470. 460 adding power to maintain. Coming back right. Comes that pull. Go further right.
I got 2.
Smoke on. A little more pull. Ease in the pull and rolling out. Up we go. A little more pull. Okay. Set. Okay. Set. Smoke off. Go get him. Ready break. Ready break.
280, 3000, easing power 380.
You didn't debrief. We didn't brief it.
Coming right. Coming further right, adding a little power 400.
Correct.
Comes the pull, a little more pull, 420, 415. A little more pull, a little more right, a little more pull, 410.
You got 6 miles.
Boss, ease in the pull. Rolling out. The loop right cross, boss 150.
Jury 300.
We're 2,000 or 1,000 high, little easing power, easing more power. Little pull to level 200 high. Adding power, adding more power. Up we go. A little more pull, little more pull. Set. Comes the pull. Ready, break outboard, 1 left. Smoke. Up. 0.5, mark 410. 1 mile, mark 409. 1.5, mark 403. 2 miles, mark 400. 2.5, mark 400. 3 miles, mark up we go, 4G, mark. Vertical, 4-7, 8 Alpha. Horizon, now 7-5, easy power idle. 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, rolling it, steep. 2.9, leveling out, 2.5, mark 400. 2 miles, mark 398. 1.5, mark 400. 1 mile, mark 400. 0.5, mark 400. Smoke up. Clear.
Seriously?
Coming left, 400, easy power. 385. 375. 370. 365. 355. Adding power catch, 350. Ease in the pole and rolling out, 353. We're coming back left. Coming further left comes the pole. A little more left and a little more pole.
Oh, shit.
Delta's on left-hand turn for the Delta breakout. It'll be a right turnout.
Sure, you got 6, boss.
Boss. Smoke. Ease and pull. Easing power. Easing more pull and more power. We're rolling out the Delta breakout. Easing more power. We're like, I don't know, 15 right. Ease a little more power. Little pull to level. Ready, break. Set. Smoke off. Clear.
Charts clear 032 at 250, 1400.
Contact.
275. 290. 305 coming right. Comes the pull. 325 easing power. 335 coming a little further right. Easing more power 340. 345. Ease of Artle 350. Delta's in a right-hand turn for the Delta left pivot brake to land.
You got 6-5.
Boss. Coming further right. A little more pull. Easing power. Ease in the pull. We're rolling out. The Delta pitch up brake to land, inboard to outboard, adding power.
Check them.
Smoke on. 10 slow. Boss breaking.
Let's ring it.
Ease pull. Roll out. 145.
145, rolling out.
Smoke off. Gear and flaps. Chariot's gear flaps hook up.
Lebs, get on flaps out, hook up order.
Chariot's coming left. 280 leb. Two-six leb. 240 leb. Chariot's at the 90. Updated winds are 210 for 6. Check them through in the green. Staggers left.
Up 3 in the green, second left.
220 leb. 200 leb. 180 leb. 160 leb idle. 140 all the way leb. Overshoot.
That was 180. 160. 140 all the way. Little angle.
Chariot's okay.
That was okay.
We'll hold shoulder for Charlie.
Charlie. That's okay, Chariot.
Chariot, landing checks.
Leb.
Check, here, smoke pressure off, take a chabs. Check your flaps auto, check your land lines off, reset your trim and safe receipt.
Leb.
We'll go well clear on the back taxi on 1/8 left for individual left 45s into chunks.
Leb.
Check brake brakes off, chariot's powering up to 75%. Off brakes now. Ease part 70 sprint, letting it roll.
Who's rolling?
Chariot's coming, right, give me 2 and trail.
You got 2.
Chariot's coming right, give me 2 wing.
Leb.
Delta go well clear.
Leb is clear.
Chariot's easy power to 68. Little brakes. Little more brakes. Off brakes now. Ease of power to 66. Coming left for parking. Okay. 027. Little brakes, easy brakes, little brakes, brakes. Standby canopy and engines. 3, 2, 1, mark. That's a show.
Yeah, something like.
Alright, let's debrief it. BrotherLeb, you got me?
Yep, line clear.
Alright.
That was really hard.
Yeah, that wind shear was nasty.
I don't know about you, but like flying in formation was sketchy.
Yeah, dude, I was right there with you. There was a ton of texture.
It's like texture and like every little thing I did created a huge attitude change relative to you.
Yeah, I felt the
Very,
same.
very touchy.
Alright, let me convert my display to 4K, and we'll get rolling.
Do it.
Alright, DCS, get that loading. We'll get the maneuver manual and the tack view up. There's some stuff to talk about.
Indeed.
Alright, I don't know why performance was so bad for me today.
Oh, really? Performance is bad?
It's just chonky. Like, I think I was contributing to my input lag. It was not particularly an enjoyable experience for most of the flight today, which is a bummer because I enjoy it. Okay. Don't have to do a second manual. Don't have to do a second book because we didn't do a low show or a flat show. Yeah, my computer's just not happy right now, which is weird. I know what it is. I accidentally opened something with Skype a couple days ago,
Oh.
and I wonder if there's a bunch of Skype crap on my computer now that's like
Could
talking
be.
to the internet all the time and like
Could be.
doing CPU cycles. Alright, I'm ready to debrief whenever you are.
Let's do it.
Okay. Today was a Sunday show at Tbilisi. As far as major safeties are concerned, I had one, which was on the rejoin for the going into the loop break cross after the fleur-de-lis. I did what we talked about, but we didn't brief it. So I ended up almost hitting you. Because I was knife edge and didn't realize that you were still level. So that was a party. That's my bad, and that's a safety fix for next time. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. Major safety. Yeah, the Delta roll. There's a couple of close calls with that one, and I was pretty far out on the way out of that. So That's definitely the major safety that comes to mind. Trying to think if there's anything else major. There are definitely some ugly setups, but I don't know if they cross the ground into safety. So, but yeah, on that note, I did not meet my goal of good setups.
And I didn't meet my goal of getting all the maneuvers into the 10-second window, so that one continues to be ongoing. And then I forgot what the other one was that I said. But I don't think I met that one either. Whatever it was. This is not a good show for me.
Me neither.
Alright, well, let's get into the thick of it then. Alright, taxi was fine. Dirty roll-on takeoff was also fine, though a little sketch. I just got slow and low behind the crowd. It might have been a safety with that grain tower that's down over there. So I'll have to take a look at when we look at the tape and see. But aside from that, was able to hit the numbers and everything was fine. So C minus.
Yeah. Yes, the taxi and takeoff and the low transition into the inland were fine. Altitude was good, speed was good, stayed on course more or less. Far from my best, but passing C+.
Cool. That takes us to the opposing knife edge. Inbounds for this felt fine, but then we hit like 4 right, so I don't know what happened there. But looks like we were on altitude and my clears were pretty okay. But because we were 4 right, that's a B minus.
Yeah, I would be willing to bet that it's the wind.
I was able to make other hits work. This one just didn't.
Yeah. But yeah, I was pretty on the numbers for that one. That was a decent inbound. Overall, fine. A little. I rolled out a little early, I think, from the knife edge. So.
Nope. Not according to my not according to my screen.
Well, then fine. C plus.
All right. That takes us to the inverted to inverted. Yeah, this one felt fine. Rolling was good. I was a little nose low, but I was able to get it back up, and then the roll was more or less level. Roll behind crowd was no event. Solid B.
Yeah, I had trouble getting enough drive in to stay above you, but I think based on this tack view, I maybe just did it. But I was pretty stinking nose high for the inverteds. Roll behind crown was pretty good. I don't know. I don't feel like it was amazing. C plus.
I will revise mine to B minus. Our hit was late. That's on me. All right. Fortis. This is where the input lag caught me out. The turn was actually quite good, and got us into like on more or less on profile. We were at 500 feet, which 550 feet, which is probably the best we're gonna do at this show site without like scraping you off onto the trees. But then like the roll in just happened so lazily. Like the jet just did not want to go, and I think it might have been because we were slow. I don't remember, but it was just kind of a lazy roll in, and because of that, you have to put in order to get the jet to be online, you have to put in drive as you're passing through knife edge, which is ridiculous, but you have to do that. With the way the FCS is right now. And because the controls were so delayed, I was afraid of putting in drive because I was afraid it would pitch me high. So I didn't put in any drive, and that's why we were inboard. But we ended up over center point, I think, because we were a little inboard to outboard and had the headwind. But yeah, that was interesting. Rollout was fine. Roll to the set was fine, and then gear and flaps were fine, and the brake was, I think it's going to be on time. I'll have to take a look at the tech view. But I I don't know if I could chalk that up to my issue with like rolling in like that, so I'm gonna give myself a B.
Yeah, I don't have any major notes for this one. I think I hit the jet pretty well. Well, one note. I was a little low on the rollout, like wings level. I was just a little low relative to you. The rest of the maneuver was pretty good. I was in real tight, which, because you were high, I was like, I honestly have no idea what the parallax needs to be. So I just got tucked in really close to you and was like, hopefully this looks good. Yeah, and then I was able to maintain good formation on the way out, so I'll give myself a B for that one as well.
Nice. A little early on my breakout. All right. It felt like I might have been in the jet, but I was late last time, so things to note for next time.
Looks good on mine, so you might have been a little early.
Yeah, I'm early. All right, MRT. This one was great. Yeah, I held a little faster through the turn, and then pulling around, the jet felt a little bit more performant this time, and then the turbo nose low. I ended up wallowing the nose a little high on this, but she was floating this time, like ripping up. So that was really fun. I gained like 200 feet on with wings level, so that was exciting. And then the turn behind crowd was a smidge tight. At Tbilisi, I never got an online opposing MRT, and that sucks. I did in one practice, but then the rest of the times it never happened. So I think it's because the turns after the MRT have been a little tight because the jet is slow at this altitude. So all in all, I'd give myself a B minus because of the wallow and the turn being too tight at the end. But no major safeties.
Only note here is I was just a little early. I think if I'm just a little slower, but then I bring up the speed because I was worried about carrying too much speed once I got a beam because I was a beam at the right time, but then I was just carrying a lot of speed. But then because I was trying not to get too fast, then when we came around the corner, I was too slow to stay a beam view. So there's just some polished stuff to fix to make that really, really dead on. But that's B. Nothing wrong with that.
Interestingly, these MRTs have been at this altitude have been ending up online. This is fascinating about how the jet behaves on pulling at the same parameters. So that could be part of why we're ending up closer in than I'm expecting behind crowd.
Yeah, because the pull would need to be shorter if you don't have as many angles.
Yeah, so that's probably what's going on. Interesting things to note. Okay, the opposing minimum radius turn. This was a pretty good one for me. The rollout was a little messy, and then we had to pull to level, but that got us more or less on altitude for once while we're here. Yeah, my roll, to be honest, I didn't really pay that much attention to whether it was a level turn. I'm pretty sure it was. Smoke on was a little early, and I was on the numbers all the way around, but we were high. I was at 350. When I usually shoot for 250 on this one. So that's a bummer. The pull up was fine to 40, and the rolls were fine, if a bit slow. All in all, C, I think.
Yeah. Just barely got in before the turn, and then I got really wide on the rollout because I thought you were going to roll out faster than you did, based on what it sounded like you were doing with your voice. So then I ended up getting kicked. I had to kick out pretty wide because you were still rolling out when I was wings level. Kind of worked it back in, but not close enough, really, for not ideal at least. Roll and pull, I got a little slow initially, at least indicated, but I'm looking at this tack view and I was fast the entire time, so that's probably why I was late and we hit to probably about 4 right. Which I was grumpy about because I was like, man, I was like keeping the speed in and everything. So it looked like I was on the numbers from about the first 45, and then I just kept the speed in after that, but it didn't matter. We were 4 right, so. I have to go back to the drawing board on trying to figure out why that keeps happening. Because I was pretty sure, at least at the 90 when I got contact of you, that I was like, oh, I'm going to be early. So I pulled out some power, but then you were coming around the corner with in a hurry, and I was like, no, actually, I'm going to be late maybe. So I brought all the power back in. I was mill all the way to the center point. But oh well. Rolls were okay. Boy, I don't know what I call that. Probably, yeah, C.
All right. Opposing horizontal rolls. Inbounds for this were a party. But I got there and hit seemed more or less on center point. And the rest of the maneuver was I got no notes for, so I'd give myself a B plus on this one.
Yeah. I felt like my inbounds were all right. Hit was okay. I hit the kneeboard shortcut at the pole, and so I had to like get rid of that because it was in the way where I needed to look. And I was a little nose high on the rolls because I was trying to stay above you because I think I came into the box a little low relative to you, which I should have expected because you're coming down over that hill. So I was just a little nose high for those rolls, and the rest of it was fine. C minus.
Was this the one where you didn't call the 3 mile mark, or was that a different one?
I don't remember.
Okay.
May have been.
Um,
Yes, this was because I remember coming around the corner for this. Okay, hold on, we got to back up. So that's technically a safety. I had waypoint 0 boxed for the first large portion of it. At least I don't remember if it was this. It was one of the. It must have been this maneuver. So we're coming in, and I realized, oh, I have waypoint 0 box, not waypoint 1. So I was trying to fix that, and that's why
oh
I didn't
my.
get the 3 mile call out.
Well, it's a flippin' miracle I made any of the other hits work.
Yeah. I mean, 0 is not too far, but it's probably point 0.2
Yeah, well,
from the actual.
when we're talking about matters of hundreds of feet. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exciting. Well, cool. I'm even more proud of myself and how I was able to get anything to go with this time then. Cool. Okay. Well, it makes sense. The awesome part was that because I know you're shooting for consistency on the way in, like I was able to guesstimate where you were going to be at 3 miles, and then like at 2 miles I was still on, so that made it easier.
That's good. Yeah, like I said, the speeds and distances were consistent. I was just trying to get waypoint 1 boxed.
All right, that takes us to the sneak to vertical rolls. This one was fine. A little slow across center points. That's because I was trying to help you make up some time in the interim. I was a little low and a little banked left because I was coming towards the crowd a smidge, so that's not great. Usually this one's a solid B plus. Today, it's a solid B.
Yeah, I'm gonna be B minus on this for me. It turned in late. I was worried about turning in early because you're on the runway instead of at center point, and sometimes it makes me early, and I didn't want to lose too much airspeed. But then I couldn't make it up. Like the first, your first call, we were at the same Mach number, and I was like about a half mile behind. Second call, you called, I don't know, 0.8, and I was like 0.88 at that point, but I was still the same distance behind. So I was just like, whatever, we're gonna get what we get. And then the hit ended up being fine. And then rolls were good. Clear was weird, but it was above the clouds, so nobody's gonna notice. But I did get a little disoriented above the clouds. Yeah, B minus.
That takes us to the line of rest loop. I got pushed quite a bit towards crowd. So I almost crowd violated and I had to maneuver the delta right, which would have sucked if you were off my wing. But that was fine. Coming into the 4 point, this one I was all over the place on the inbounds, and then we hit like 4 right. So that's a bummer. But my rolls were very clean and crisp and measured and time and like separated, and my clear was great. But still a B minus because I need to make the hit work.
Hit was not your fault. I was like dead on the inbounds all the way in, but once I got past the 2 mile mark and I was like right on 400, 2 miles, I was like, I'm kicking butt. And I was like, well, the throttle setting's working because I'm not having to fix it. So I just stopped paying attention to that and was working on lineup and some other things. And then when I happened to check my speed, I had lost about 10 knots, maybe even 15 knots. I don't remember. So then I brought all of it back in, but it was too late and the hit was way off. So that's on me. The rest of the maneuver was fine. Fail.
Cool. My clear timing is working. No one else is going to notice that, but I care. Vertical pitch. I was way behind inbound for this, but I was able to make it up. Coming into the box. We hit center point before we went up the hill, and then the roll was fine, but the pull over the top was a little quicker than normal, which meant that I got to the horizon before you did. Put in a little bit more pull because it wasn't coming around fast enough, and then you were like zero point 0.4 behind most of the way into the box, and then I think we hit like 3 or 4 right for the rolls, and then the clear is fine. I think all things considered, I'd give myself a solid B on this one. If I can get that pull rates to be a little slower and more like we practiced in the past, then I would have given myself like an A for this one, but as it was, a B.
Yeah, the inbounds were pretty good on this one. I called contact when we smoked on, and I did see the smoke go on, but then I lost your jet behind my HUD display. So I was trying to break you out, and then we crossed center point, and you called ready, hit it, and I was like, oh right, we have to maneuver. So
Okay.
pulled the 60, which I might have been a hair late, but I don't think so.
You were.
Um,
Just a smidge.
And yeah, and then I overshot 60 just a little as well. I wasn't that high above where you were topping out, but I was just a little behind you timing wise. I knew it. I brought in lots of power, lots of pull, and I was actually only 0.1 behind on the way in, most of it. I was like 0.4 behind the first time, 0.2 or like 0.1 after that, and then I just couldn't quite catch up. So yeah, probably 2 or 3 right, maybe 4 right. Yeah, it's like 4 right. Yeah, let's see. So inverted tuck over roll. I think one of the things that I just never figured out at this show site is that I need to pull more when I'm setting up these turns. In most show sites, I don't need to introduce any pull when I'm turning behind crowd. But at this show site, I never really cottoned on to how much I needed, and I needed a lot more because we ended up being just pretty far behind crowd most of the time. So yeah, turn in like consistency and smoothness wise was okay, but we were high. And I was nose low the entire turn, just not enough because I started off too high. And then we were pretty far behind crowd, so I was just fixing a 3-dimensional problem, and I wasn't quite able to manage it. I did get us back nose level before we rolled inverted, but because we rolled inverted from nose level instead of about 2 to 3 high, there's just a lot of drive to get stabilized once we were inverted. And then I think my cadence was just different than it normally is on the hit, and so that I'm pretty sure threw you off. Clears seemed okay. I was pretty wide because I think you had ended up wide because of the weirdness of the setup of that. So overall, I don't know. It's not a fail, but C minus.
My rejoin was late, and then the turn, I was just a little tight to you. I knew that we were high, and we rolled out, and I just didn't realize how high. So like, it took me a bit to find the crowd and get set up, and then we rolled, and you were a lot lower than me. So instead of dumping the nose, I just kind of held what I had because I thought that you would correct and come up into me, and you more or less did, at least according to the attitude of my jet. But then at that point I was diverging, so I put a little bit, I rolled a little bit into you. But I didn't want to do too much of that because I've had that be a problem before as well. And at that point, I was already ahead of you, and so I was trying to ease power to make it so that the hit would work. And then you said a little drive, but I was like full forward deflection by the time we did the hit. And I was just like all out of sorts and below you compared to the crowd, and so this is gonna look horrible. Um, the clear was fine. First roll was too fast. Second roll was on time, and the roll behind crowd was also on time. And then we're way separated for the high alpha, and I'll get to that in a sec.
Yeah.
Oh,
So high
sorry.
alpha
Grade
same.
for myself. Is C, because I think like based upon what I was flying fine. There was just a lot to solve, and I didn't get there.
I had same problem with the setup, just too far behind crowd. I knew it, so I added more. Like, I came past the crowd right heading to try and fix that, and still didn't quite do it. So yeah, turn. There's just a lot of correcting in the turn. And then I also waited to. I considered at the 90 rolling out some bank, but I didn't think that was actually going to fix it. Partly because we still needed to come down and we were going to gain lift if we did that, and I couldn't pull out any more power without being full idle boards. So I just kind of lived with what we had at that point, a slight correction, and then we were just late to the pull. Pulled at 140, which is earlier than I'd like to, but I guess at this altitude that is probably a little smoother. We started off coming down a little high, but we ended up being about 500 for the maneuver. A little inboard to outboard, like I called. I held the heading we had, and we more or less stayed on course. And I was moderately stable. Clear got funky.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried to do the like rudder thing, but I just didn't bring enough drive in to keep the thing from falling after that. So it's just going to look really weird, and it's kind of dangerous. And now that I'm looking at it, that's probably actually a safety. So yeah, glad to be here. Fail.
Um. Yeah. We were transitioning through wind shear altitudes on our way rolling in for this. I think we're
Oh,
going.
that's what the texture was.
Yeah.
Okay, it was the 1600 to 2000
Yep.
transition.
That's exactly
That's what makes this show site so hard. Is because DCS just like hard, like digital. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Because
So
the field's like just a little above the 1600,
yep.
and then you go 500 up, and you're already into it. Yeah.
I try to make sure that when I edit the winds, I try to make sure that if we're at an altitude, that like the winds at the next stage up are no more than double. In fact, I try to do the same amount of wind variation between each stack, each level of the stack. So if it's like 3 knots from ground to 1200, I'll do 3 knots for every stage, because otherwise, like, we get into this wind shear nightmare, and it causes problems when we get to altitude and stuff like that. And like, while there's some realism to that, otherwise, like, there's not going to be a literal break of wind shear. But anyway, that made the turn in really a party, and it was pretty sketch. Not a safety, but I definitely like was cautious the rest of the way in. Um, and then I was really struggling to follow your comms. Like as we were setting up for the set, just like from the rollout into the box. But like I more or less was able to stay with it.
Can you be more specific? I can't fix it if I don't know what I did wrong.
You were talking about you talked about the angle of our approach multiple times. When you would like, there was one time where you said, I think you said, I'd have to go look at the tape, but you said something along the lines of easing a little left comes the pull or something like that. And I was like, I don't know what that means. um, and there's there's just a number of calls that were not like our contract, and so it just got a little confusing.
When you say our contract, meaning the words we've decided or the way they normally come?
The words we've decided.
Got it.
But yeah, once we got into the box, yeah, once we got into the box and like you got everything settled and on the line that you were happy with, like everything calmed down, and the pull to the set was like the comms became clear, the pull to the set was good, and then I got a little tight to you, but I knew it was coming and was able to adjust well to make that work. And then the drive out was good, nice and flat and safe, and the turn behind crowd was also safe. So all in all, I think I give myself a C minus. Should be able to roll with the punches better than I did, and I need to fly safer when there's texture. That takes us to the Wanderer. This one was interesting. It felt decent for the first half of the turn, and then we came to roll out. We were nose low, so I had to bring us some pull, and then we were smoke on a little late, and then we were fast as well. So like just out of parameters more or less for this, but we were on center point. And then the hit was well timed, my roll was a little early, and my pull was on time. But even though this had some improvements over the last couple times, especially with altitudes and stuff like that, I still give myself a C minus because there was too much out of parameters, which makes it hard to fly off of.
My turn for the Fortis, the formation flying was fine, but I think it's because we were slow. This, when we were faster, it was like, boy, this thing just wants to move everywhere, and it was very difficult. Caught the rollout, there was a big old climb, and then you were bringing in drive to keep us low, and so I was like, I think I'm just going to be about half a jet high. And then you pulled to level, and then that kind of corrected, because I basically didn't do anything. I just held what I had. Yeah, the timings for the hits felt different. I don't know what else to say about that. It's just like I remember thinking about it. Like it's like that. The timing of that just felt slower, more leisurely. It wasn't a problem. I managed to fly smoothly with it and everything. And overall, I give myself a C plus for that. The formation around the turn, honestly, it got worse as the show went on. Initially, it was like, oh, this is harder than the last show we did. But I sort of was like, hadn't really thought of or like accepted how hard it was. So I flew pretty well in this maneuver, but it definitely got worse. But yeah, nothing way out, just not the best. So C plus.
Yeah, the reason it was slow is because my pull to 5 and then push to like 3. I need to wait for that to settle before I roll us. Otherwise, I'm in your flight. I can be in a conflicting flight path with you, and that took longer this time.
Got it.
I don't know whether it was from input lag. I don't think so. I think it's just from the conditions that we had today, and we were in that weird transitionary altitude.
Probably, if the timing is good, it'll probably look cool because we ended up being really close.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, it looks. Yeah, I think it's gonna look good from the crowd. All right, that takes us to the Delta roll. So I remembered that we needed to do some climb and descent part, but dude, you can watch my flight path marker back on the tape. It's all over the place, and I'm not doing anything. I'm just flying. I'm just like holding my what I've got, and like it's just wobbling all over the place. So like, the texture was creating a party for my jet, and you were having to fly off of that. All that being said, we got into a decent parameter on the rollouts, and we went up we go with the right timing. And then the onset of the roll this time felt super fast. Like, it was just like, wabamo. And like, I guess I just didn't think hard enough about it. Like I was thinking about altitudes and speeds and stuff, and was not thinking about the onset of the roll. And so I think it just came faster than I usually do. So that sucks. But then I had to keep adding more and more and more roll as we went because we were just getting shoved around by the wind a little bit. And so like the jet was getting was having some weird stuff happening to it, and so like I just kept having to add more roll, and then we had to pull out at the bottom. Um, so that's not ideal. Um, yeah, that onset issue, I think right there is just that's a straight C minus, right up. So the rest of the maneuver was fine, but like that's going to create problems as soon as it happens. So um, yeah, that's me.
I called this a safety in the before we got to full brief, and I'm looking at this, and I don't know that anything quite crosses that point, but it just felt bad. The whole thing felt really bad. Like the formation flying was touchy, and I just never could get settled. Rollout, there was a slight almost conflict, and I had to deconflict like a wing climb kind of thing. Up the hill, got resettled back down. That was maybe the 5 seconds of this entire maneuver. I felt like I was in. The onset of the roll actually didn't catch me off. I was right there with you as you started the roll, but then I think you like subconsciously like realized that the onset had been fast, and so it felt like the roll rate slowed down a little bit because I was like, oh hey, I'm matching him. I don't have to do anything, and then suddenly I'm like climbing past you again. And so that could have also been wind. I don't know. So that basically got me out in the first 90 degrees of the turn. And then I was trying to keep the power in and then like remember the rudder positioning and like adjusting to that. And I was basically in my head the entire time. I need to just be flying it instead of thinking about it. But then also the increased roll rate, definitely after about the like 120-ish point, it's just like, it's like I don't feel safe chasing this. I did, but I didn't feel good about it. And I got sucked and I was out of plane and smoke off for basically the second half of that whole thing. We leveled off. I called that I was clear to rejoin, smoked on again, and immediately wing climbed into you again. Smoke off, deconflict, and then it was just kind of that all the way around the corner for the fleur-de-lis. So, yeah, I mean, the smoke offs probably just qualify this as an F, but I don't know. Nothing is dangerous, but it's right on the edge of dangerous.
Yeah, I think what happened is the onset of the roll was quick, and so I wasn't adding more roll at that point. And so like usually, like I start the maneuver and then I'm just adding roll until we hit the right roll rate. So it was like onset, stop, and then add roll, and that's just stupid. So yeah, that's a safety, and I'll fix that for next time. The fleur-de-lis, the turn was weird. Bunch of that, like, the last 45 of that was just, like, completely eased and just, like, hanging it on the blades to roll us out for this. So that was kind of fun. But we were more or less in the right spot and just a little high, and on speed. So once I gave us enough pull to go up the hill, I made sure to arrest my pull rate and just fly stable. I did not roll enough on the brake, so that could be a potential safety. And then I was like more or less in formation with you around the corner, which was scary. And then like we roll out, and I just had a bucket of knots and came in front of you. Yeah, we were really high behind the crowd, and I didn't realize it. Otherwise, I would have dropped some more altitude behind the crowd. But yeah, we came right and started coming back around. I had to bring in more right, and so that meant that and more pull, and so that meant the ease before we went up was like super long. But we went up right at center point, and like we were uh, at a pretty good angle. But because we were at center point, it's later than we usually go up, so I had us go up a little bit higher, and then I had our sets a little slower to make sure that we got more out in front of the crowd to give you some more room to turn around. And then on the break, I kind of did what we talked about. I think I double did it, but we didn't brief it, so I don't know why I expected it to happen like that. Uh, and so I ended up almost hitting you, and that's a major safety, and I'm glad to be here, and that makes us an F.
Yeah, we definitely didn't brief that. I have no idea what that is supposed to be. Uh, yeah, I already talked about the turn. That sucked. I was able to just barely scrape myself into a beam position as we went up the hill, and it was just like rudder party to not hit you. And somehow I managed not to get too out of plane either, so that's good. But it was work the entire time and like very minor adjustments with some major changes, so it just felt bad. Rollout was fine, turn was fine. You came across my nose with a head of steam and dropping tons of altitude, so that was kind of fun to chase you down there. But I got like tucked right in like my old set. And I was like, well, I don't want to pull too much power out because then I'll just lose him. So I just sat there and basically slot. We went up the hill and I was able to catch the first set pretty well. And then the second, or maybe I was just a little bit right on your jet, and then matched the roll pretty well. Was able to slide out to the right wing where I like to be for this clear, and then cleared as per normal. And then I heard you say ready, hit it, and I was like, hit what? And so I was like, do I need to do something? And I was like, nah, I'm just gonna fly, because if I do something and it's not whatever the heck he thinks I'm gonna do, then like who the heck knows is gonna happen? So yeah, loop break cross. The setup for that, we were high and I knew it, and I tried to keep the nose down, but I was trying to work the angles too, and we didn't quite lose enough altitude on that. But the lineup was good, and I remembered what you had said about the winds, so I set up basically using the tent as the center point, and that worked pretty well. The rollout ended up being a little snappy, and there were a lot of comms happening that weren't all quite clear. So comms overall for my leading were poor in all maneuvers. I guess like the desire to communicate was going on was probably not as important as just communicating clearly based on the things we've talked about in the past. So I delayed going up the hill because of the headwind, and that was also a good move. Pulled to the set, it felt like we were just up there forever. Also, if you go back and watch the tape, you can watch the flight path marker fall off to the left really hard
Yep.
at about 70 to 80 degrees
Yep.
nose high, and I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't want to look anywhere, but I feel like we're gonna die. And it ended up being fine, but it was just like scary, very very scary. We ended up being just a little outboard, interestingly, and like one left. So
Oh.
that worked out. I was late on my smoke, um, so that was a mistake. Outbounds were pretty consistent. Uh, Over the top for the split S. I realized once I had called vertical, uh, or maybe once I'd passed vertical, that I was no longer no, because vertical is when you go to 8 alpha. No, it was the 4G mark, and then I'm watching altitudes and other things, and I realized I have no idea if I'm still at 4G. I hope so. I held what I had, but so if your numbers were way off, that's probably why. I did hold 8 alpha over the top, so at least that would be consistent. And then the inbounds were pretty good, and it looked like the hit was good too. So overall, C. I think the setup was good. Communication was bad, and I wasn't consistent on a few of the different aspects of that. So C overall.
Oh, just a little early. Just a little early.
I
Yeah.
mean, just barely.
Yeah, but I'm striving for perfection here, friend. Yeah, like just like 10, 20 feet early, which is pretty good. I'll take it. All right. So, for me, yeah, there's the safety on the rejoin, which I already talked about. But once I solved that problem, the rejoin itself was fine. But man, I haven't rejoined at that high of a G in a hot minute. Like I think it was like somewhere in the realm of like 2.5 to 3 as we were coming around that corner. So I was like, this is gonna be fun when he decides to roll this thing out. And it was, and I stayed more or less with you. It was a snappier rollout than I expected, but that's my own problem because I should have expected a snappy rollout given how high we were and the kind of G that we were pulling in the turn. Um, and then yeah, the comms were quite verbose, and I just got confused at a couple points, but I more or less stayed with you. But once we started going up the hill, it was all fine and dandy. Um, and I had a little drop and then a little wing climb, and then all the stuff from the vertical on over is always a party. It's the amount of adjustment that you have to make up there. I would love to have my input cams on for this maneuver at some point because there's a lot happening over the top. But I more or less stayed in, and then the brake was good. I didn't quite get to 65 because I was trying to solve speeds and angles before we pulled out. And then I was way behind on the outbounds. And then over the top, yeah, the numbers got a little wonky, and I was like, I'm just going to sort of hit generally where he's talking as far as his pitch ladder is concerned, and I'll solve the distances on the inbound, like altitudes and distances on the inbound. That ended up working out. Did have to put in some brakes coming at about the 3 mile mark, but I was able to make the hit work pretty well. Yeah, farm flying wasn't great, so I give myself a B minus on that one.
Section breakout. Not too much to talk about here. Turn was a little more aggressive because I came to the directly away from crowd heading, but I actually turned too sharp. I didn't do a wide enough turn, so we were canted right by 15 degrees, which that's like one of 5 times in 3 years of doing this that I've ever done that. So there's that. Probably partly to do with the wind as well, but regardless, not as much pull would have been fine. It was okay. Plenty of time to go in there, and then the roll and pull were fine. Overall, B.
My rejoin was taking forever, so I had some more power in and ended up overshooting. But once I came back in, I was pretty well saddled and got nice in a beam. We had the teeniest amount of right roll once we rolled out, which I could tell because I'm trying to fly in plane with you. Just the teeniest amount, and that was fine. But it was just like it usually doesn't happen because we're not usually at this angle. If that makes sense.
Yep.
So it wasn't something that I had done before. So that was fun. But we made it work, and yeah, my pull to the set was good, and it looks like we're more or less on altitude and on bank angle going into by the time we roll out. So
I will say I did roll through it just a little bit, and I knew I did, but I was like, there's such a small amount of this that saying it will probably give the impression that I'm going to do more than I'm doing.
mm-hmm.
So I just didn't say it.
Yeah. It's interesting because
I did it on purpose.
It's a unique scenario because it's very rare. I mean, it's fairly rare, even for the solos. Like it's very rare for the Delta to fly line abreast, but it's even rare for the solos to fly line abreast. So like, it's just a unique scenario that we haven't crossed before, but now I know what that looks like and feels like. So, yeah. Yeah. All in all, I give myself like, yeah, probably a B minus because of the overshoot. Which takes us to the Delta pitch up break to land. Yeah, the turn for this one, I was trying to keep the altitude down because in the past couple shows we've had to like do some serious pull into the runway. In so doing, I ended up bringing up too much pull in the turn, and I even added more because I thought that I misread the inside runway as the outside runway. And so we would have lined up beautifully for the inside runway. But that would have been a crowd violation.
Crash right into.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That would have been a crowd violation. So I had to. That's what that huge ease of the pull was, and the slow rollout. It was like I have to do something to fix this. And all things considered, it's not the most horrible lineup I've seen, but it was pretty bad. But then the rest of the landing was more or less fine. When I went idle at 160, the nose just sank like a rock. So. That was a safety, and I'm glad I'm still here and not in the dirt. And then the taxi seemed fine. I have a note about the taxi that we can do after you're finished with your debrief, but all in all, that one's a D because of the weird angles and stuff.
All right, I thought we could do Ds. There are definitely some maneuvers in this show that could have qualified as a D. Anyway. Okay, so rejoin was actually pretty good and smooth and right along the 3-9 line, or at least the bearing line, which is just like it's supposed to be. It was a little slower because I didn't do the full offset, but I was really far out in front of you and very high relative to you when we cleared from the Delta breakout.
That's the angle.
Yep, and so I had to do some funny fixing of that, but the rejoin itself was pretty good. Form flying was god awful, and that's just this show, and I'm mad about it. And then the slow rollout really made that even worse. There's nothing you could do about it, but it was just like.
Oh, I knew it was going to happen as soon as I said it.
It's like these really slow rollouts are so hard to match. And then but it was what it was. There was a point once we got rolled out where I wasn't quite settled, but I was settled enough to check over my shoulder and see if your smoke was on, and was able to tell that it wasn't, because I was like, I'm pretty sure we haven't smoked on. So I'm glad that I caught that. Turn was fine, followed you fine. When you said you were idle, I was like, well, if he's idle, I better get idle, because I was 40 knot over speed. I was left wing down, and I did that, and I was like, that was a bad idea. Brought the power right back on him. But even then, get in there. But then once I rolled out wings level, I wasn't losing speed fast enough because of the tailwind. So I had to bring a lot of power out, and it was just a lot of jockeying throttle and stick to make sure that the alpha was where it needed to be. And I also didn't auger into the ILS lights. So, landing was fine. Taxi seemed fine. Boy, I don't freaking know. I'll call that one a C+.
Sweet.
Yeah. You wanted to debrief something about taxi.
He didn't tell me I could do what I need, which, isn't a requirement, but...
when would I have said that?
When I'm coming right across your nose.
Oh,
right at the end.
Neat. Do we normally do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have done that in the past. I think it just fell out of your brain, which is fine.
I honestly don't remember, but I'll remember in the future.
Yeah.
The do what you need I'm used to on the wagon.
Yeah.
Covered wagon, but on the right turns, I didn't know that was part of it. So, or at least I didn't remember that it was part of it. But I will remember in the future.
Parking looks good.
Good.
We'll see how it looks on the tape.
It felt slow.
Yeah, but actually, it gave me enough time to brake.
Yeah.
I know it felt slow, dude. It felt slow to me too. I was like, "This is so slow." I was like, I'm sure it's gonna feel great once I get in there, and it did. So,
it'll be interesting to see what it looks like relative to when you actually see the jets for reals.
Yeah.
The parking does look good. I think we're gonna be a little close.
I think so.
Relative to the other jets.
Speaking of which, let's go see what it looks like for reals.
While you're doing that, I just want you to know what the wind conditions were. So at 33 feet, which we can't get down there because that's under the ground.
Yeah.
It's 2 knots. At 1,600 feet, it's 4 knots, so 8 knots is actually what it was.
Oh,
Which
interesting.
is weird because I like literally said it.
Uh-huh.
I like typed in the number 3 in that spot, but it is 4. Um, at 6,600 feet, it
Mm-hmm.
is 14 knots.
Good
And
God.
remember, the first, so the first 2 levels, the 33 and the 1,600, the basically field elevation,
Uh-huh.
it was at 120. At 6,600 feet, it's at, let me do some math because of DCS, like 230.
Uh-huh.
And for 14 knots. So it shifts from a
Hello.
headwind to a like a left quartering tailwind,
Uh-huh.
um, and it increases by 10 knots. And then up higher it does more stuff, but we never got up there. But anyway,
Oh boy.
yeah.
All right. Well, that
So I'm definitely
explains.
gonna have to check that because one of the things that DCS real weather doesn't do is it doesn't do any of those winds relative to each other. It just pulls winds aloft data from the internet
Yep.
and sticks it in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just need to remember to check that if I'm ever building one of these things myself.
Yeah.
DCS real weather is nice when I remember to do it, but when we're doing these show sites where it's like 8 hours ahead, I basically have to get up in the morning and do it because we're gonna fly in
You
order
can
to hit
also
it
set an
on time.
offset in the file. You can set a time offset, like when you pull it.
Oh, wait, really?
Yep.
Oh, I'll have to look at that. Okay, cool.
In the config file.
Ah, got it. Yeah, when it works, it's nice because you don't have to fiddle with the MIS file. But I end up fiddling with the MIS file anyway.
Yeah, but you get halfway there usually. Like it. I end up fiddling with the MIS file too, but like it's a place to start versus a blank slate, so it feels a
Yeah,
little easier. But that's just me. If it's not
I think I
helpful
have a
for you, then like.
No, it's helpful. It's helpful when the whole thing works as a package, but I assume it's all going to work as a package even when it doesn't.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not like checking every particular. And if I'm going to check every particular at that point, I'd rather just do it myself because then I'm building
Mm-hmm.
like what feels like a realistic scenario myself.
Well, and you may just want to check it yourself. Yeah. So what's fun about this turn is that in order to get us lined up like we are right here, I have to actually offset onto the edge of your right stabilator
Mm-hmm.
in order to make that turn work because of the parallax on the
Yeah,
taxiway. So that's
yeah.
fun.
Good for you. I almost called an easy left, but I was like, it was just a little behind where I would have wanted to do it,
Yep.
and so I was like, nah, it's going to be too many things to do.
Now, when
So
you
I'll just
didn't call
hold
it,
it.
I was like, all right, time to move. Way ahead this time. Once I hit 130, I can't be looking at you anymore.
That's fine.
It happens.
That's funny. That low transition looks pretty good, and that felt like a really, really high and lousy one.
Yep. Oh yeah, this is really low. I'm gonna stay here for a sec. I need to
Yeah,
see
go
how
ahead.
close I was to the
My thing
smokestack.
is boring as hell.
Yeah, I was pretty close.
You climb like straight up.
Yeah,
Jeez.
that's the best part, dude. Get to prove the thrust power of the F-18.
Thrust power.
Still doing the behind the crowd version because it's cool, and I'm also not in a Super Hornet, which can do the straight vertical climb. That's a dude. Whoa, those guys are... Hold on. What's this?
Oh, I talked about that
Oh,
a while
yeah.
ago. You
Okay,
just couldn't
sorry.
see it. Yeah. I haven't fixed it. I should fix it, but yeah.
My bad. I thought that was another, like, set of center point guys.
No. No. They're supposed to be like the people at the gate,
Ah, yeah.
gate workers.
Alright, only like 2 right. Ugh. Ugh. Lame. I'm better than that. Ugh. Wow.
Oh, hey.
We were way left off for that one, or way right for that one.
I made the altitude work, though.
Yeah.
That was full forward to... Interesting. I was a little low, actually. I knew I was low on the rollout, but I thought in the
Ooh.
turn I was good.
Huh. I actually adjusted for that pretty well. Good for me, instincts. Dude, you're right in there. That looks really cool. That's right. Right on altitude. Nice job.
This bit is so hard.
I know.
Because you're trying to flip the switches
Yeah.
and manage your throttle and manage your spacing with your stick and talk on the radio and smoke off and everything.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I guess there's no smoke for that, but yeah.
It's hard for me, too.
It's not even like all four limbs. It's like all four limbs and most of your fingers.
And all of your brain. Yeah, it's everything. I think it's a really elegant way to do the humidity trails is to have it be part of the model that just loads in whenever you pull that much alpha in certain conditions.
Is that really how it works?
I think so.
That's kind of cool. I just gotta shortcut the speed. I didn't want to get too far out ahead of you.
Yeah. You know the real guy, in the real show, 5 keeps his burners in until he rolls out behind crowd.
You can if you want to. I'm carrying plenty of speed.
I'm worried that I'll end up carrying too much speed doing that.
I mean, my target for when I come,
Whew.
like when I'm crossing, yeah, that was scary. Because you were rolling out much slower than I thought you were just gonna like and roll it out, and you're like, not so fast.
A little bit more separated than usual, but I was like, I'm not going to take the time to work this in. Little low.
Timing is good.
Yeah. A little bit of a dip in the turn. Alright. Noted.
Give it her all she's got, Captain. Nice.
That was pretty good.
Very neutral roll.
It's the goal. I was adjusting for it the whole time. Horizontal rolls. Hold. Ready, hit it. 4 right again.
It's the win, man. Sure.
It's weird because I'm like on into the box and then
Well, okay, so if
Well,
you're
yeah,
at the
and
right timing and the speed,
uh-huh.
then relatively you're like 20 knots slower than me.
Well, yeah, but I was doing all my math based off of a wind that was double what it was, or that was half of what it actually was. Nice job.
Yeah, the timing ended up working, but
Yeah,
for the first 3 miles, I was like, well, I'm going to be way behind.
yeah, we got there. That was great. Good adjustments from both of us.
Roger
Teamwork.
is sad.
Fortunately, you can't see it.
Uh-huh.
Hi, crowd. Hi, crowd. There we go. We'll skip this.
Ooh, yeah. Close.
Yep. Really, really close. Alright, tons of everything into the box for this one.
He'll be right again.
Yep.
As I slowed way down. Not too far right, though.
No, like 2 right.
Yeah. Very nice.
That was a good one. That was a real good one. I get the benefit of not having to hit 400 knots on the dot. Yeah, don't ask me about the brakes in the box, okay? I was trying to solve a problem and it worked. One right.
One right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was too hard of a pull. Alright. Yeah, we got back to one right. That's good. That was a good level hit. Nice job.
Yep. Made it work.
This is where the fun begins.
Yeah.
Meow.
Hide in the chat well.
I was like, oh my gosh, the crowd's down there? As you can see, I'm ahead. Good whirls. How am I still early? I waited a full, like, half second. That's ridiculous. I'm going to be like, stand by, roll. 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 Like, I'm going to have to wait that long. There we go. I was putting more inputs into this than I have in a hot minute. was all over the shop.
It looks pretty good though.
Yeah, but to get that, there was a lot going on.
It's clear out of interesting.
Nice, flat. Clear for me.
I just didn't get quite enough your speed.
I think you had the right idea.
Yeah. The rudder skid thing is weird.
I think you might have had, like, maybe you put too much pull into it?
I don't know. I think maybe, yeah. But there's like a, yeah. I'm not sure how to get the tail to come around. It's the missing piece at this point.
Mm-hmm. Alright, the Wanderer. Looks cool. Well, that sucks.
I mean,
Wahoo!
just holding on for you.
Yeah, that looks like a party, dude. Yeah, flat rollouts suck. Oof. Alright.
Yeah, being that close doesn't look as good.
Hmm?
Being that close doesn't look as good.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, because the jets, you don't break the jets out from each other.
Yep.
And the bobbles are more obvious.
This is a really slow roll, but we had so much altitude that in order to get the nose to cross that inverted, it had to be slow. Watch me get confused.
Jeez, that's scary.
Yeah, dude. There was a moment there where I thought for sure I was hitting you.
Let's talk through what you think should happen.
You want to do that now?
No. Let's
Okay.
watch the rest of the show, then we'll do it.
Right about here, I just start hanging on for dear life. Something about the winds and the speed. You start to get in this porpoise motion. What I hear Boss doing is he'll call the ready break, then he'll break his comms to smoke on, and then he'll come back and say the thing
That
about
makes sense.
distances.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Whee. Come on, baby. Yeah. That looks good.
Yep, great.
Watch me tumble. Oh, that overshoot didn't look nearly as bad
No,
from this
they never
angle.
do. They never do. The angle's right. There was one high alpha, or not high alpha, sorry, Fortis, where I overshot like way out in front of you. Was basically looking over my shoulder the entire turn, and you cannot tell from the back.
Ooh, that was a good break. That was
Yeah.
a good break. We got some things right this show. Nice of the clouds to finally break for us.
Yeah.
Cool rejoin?
It's not going to look as cool. It's smoother, but it's not going to look as cool.
Jeez, yeah, that's a horrible angle. We should still be at the 45. Yeah, it's this is such a bad profile. I was like, I can't. I probably could have rolled this down and then rolled this back in, but it would have been real fast. I didn't want to do it.
I appreciate that. If you started rolling out in the middle of the turn, I'd be like, what is happening? It's like, I check. Like, I know where we are relative to the field when I'm doing the rejoins. If you'd rolled out, it's like, what?
At that point, you would have had to keep track of, oh, we're in big trouble.
Well, at that point, you just like loosen up and then try not to look A, stupid, or B, be dead.
Yeah. Oh man, this can be a party. Like doing this show could be a real adventure. Just a little overshoot. Yep.
Just a little left of center. Dude, let's see, Sunday, so yesterday, I was doing pattern work, IRL, and
really,
it was crosswind city, and it was sucky. It was good practice.
Have they taught you how to slip yet?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that's what we were doing.
Cool.
It's hard though.
Yeah, I'll bet.
It's very weird. At least it doesn't feel natural yet. I did it pretty well, but it's just like a lot of like, I am doing the things I know I'm supposed to do.
It's not second nature yet.
No.
Yeah. How did this turn work out?
It was a little tight for me, but it worked. Like, we got there.
Okay.
And I was basically right in the right spot once we got pointed where we were pointed.
Okay,
so
cool.
That's always nice.
That math. I watched some videos and did some rough calculations and was like, I think this is going to put him in a position where he just has to turn, essentially. Doesn't have to do any crazy taxi shenanigans. Alright, we're going to watch it from here to see just how slow this actually was.
Mm-hmm. A little sign. As long as I'm to the right of the sign, we're good. If I'm not, then I'm too far. Yep, too far. Oh.
Am I too far? I'm just a little too far. Just a hair.
Yeah, and then I'm a little...
You're a little close.
Half again is close, yeah.
So that means if I got my spot right, and you were right exactly where you are now, it would have been right. But because of... How does that make sense, DCS? Did you see the specular highlight on your wing increase as your flaps went down? How does that make sense?
I don't know.
Alright, anyway. Graphical blunders aside, that's it for us, folks. We need to spin the wheel for you, so give me a moment to do that.
Oh yeah, we got to debrief the clear from the...
Let's do that first. Okay, so
clarify.
What we had talked about... I don't remember what the venue for this conversation was, but we had talked about...
it was Discord because we'd watched there was something in a video.
Mm-hmm. So what I plan on doing is smoke off, go get him, and we'll do essentially what we have done already.
Okay.
But then I'll do ready break, and then we'll both roll to the knife edge, and then you'll start coming around the corner.
Oh, so I'm just going to transition from the knife edge to the turn?
I think so, unless you want to do something different. Or, like, if you
want to try it once. I don't know.
I think that's going to throw off your algebra.
It probably will, but we'll try it once and see what happens. I'm like 90% it will make the turn weird, but okay. I'll put it to you this way. It puts a lot more responsibility on you to make sure that we are in the right spot in the sky once you once you call that hit it. Because from that point, I'm committed to the turn. I'm at a knife edge, so I'm like already pretty deep into a turn.
Let's not do it, and let's see if we can figure something else out. Because one, I don't know those numbers, and two, that puts us in a position where you have to remain clear of me while after that split until we do the knife edge and I call contact. So like that just creates a whole bucket of problems. So
what it looked like in the video where we got this idea is they did this whole big barrel roll thing and they more or less leveled out behind the delta and then go get them contact, but they just leveled out behind the delta in formation. And then they split up and did the little knife edge thingy.
Yeah, I initially tried to do that, but the issue is that you're still they're rejoining when they rejoin the delta is the rollout for the loop break cross. And so by the time they finish their roll and are quote unquote behind the delta's like approaching 90 degrees in the turn. So they still have to do some exciting performance to get in for the loop break cross. And so when I tried to spit us out in the right spot before and like do a true barrel roll, we ended up breaching like 7 miles.
Okay.
Because in order like
oh yeah, because then I start my turn then.
Yeah. Because
got it, yeah.
Like, you know, if we just like did a contract thing where it's like go get them and then you just like max perform the jet to get online for the loop break cross and then I form up on you, but that just doesn't look good either. So like yeah. we got a taste of what it would be like um, with a real diamond when that one guy from VBA flew with us
Mm-hmm.
for like while we were in a public server.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we adjusted well to that, but um, I don't think we can do that with just the two of us.
Yeah, I think that's true.
So we need to figure out if we want it to look better than it does now. We're gonna need to figure out how that's gonna work. Just the two of us and like do our own thing.
Yeah, we'll have to figure it out. I'm not sure.
Me neither. All right, let's spin the wheel, shall we? That's tiny. Let's try this one. Hey, all right. We have a lot of exciting places. We have some places we've been a lot. We have some places we haven't flown in a hot minute. And we have some places that we flew like once before. And then we have like parties, like Palm Jumeirah.
Oh, jeez.
Which, now that we're building Miz files, could actually be kind of fun.
Yeah.
The keyhole with an actual like log boom would be an adventure.
Indeed.
Let's see what happens. Watch it be something boring like Katezi. Nope.
Why'd you jinx it?
Could
Oh,
be slightly less boring,
Slightly boring.
with Batumi. Oh, dude, we actually haven't done a Batumi show in a hot minute.
It's been over a year, I think.
So we're gonna put the center point on that little boat, and we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna do that now before I forget.
Wow, Batumi. That makes me smile. So, this is crazy. This is crazy, dude. The wheel just chose Tbilisi and Batumi. Think about that.
Oh, right, in order.
In order.
Because we're like reliving ourselves.
We're reliving ourselves from 5 years ago. 5 years ago?
I will say
3 years ago. How long ago? 5? No,
3.
wasn't it 5?
No. 5 years ago was 2020.
Didn't.
No.
When did we start?
I didn't
We
do
didn't
this
start
during COVID.
We didn't start in 2022.
No.
Wait,
Didn't we?
no. When did we start? Jeez.
You still have your
Hold on.
Twitch channel? Does it exist?
I don't have stuff from then because
right.
they got rid of it. All right, Damascus is going back in the rotation.
Let me try something.
We haven't Damascused in a hot minute. Dude, we're full on into the old stuff. This is kind of fun.
Yeah. I moved all of my recording stuff to the new drive I got over Christmas, where I've also got all like the GA flight simulator stuff.
Yeah.
It was almost a terabyte worth of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Let me see if I can pull up my OBS vids and see if we have. Let's see, an hour 30 GCI view. No, that's my old GR stuff.
It was after that, that's for sure.
28 minutes. Wait, tuck and roll. 9/21/2021. Yeah. This was Tbilisi. So it was 2021 when we started this.
So that's 3.5 years ago. This is 2025.
Dang, that was
4.5
good.
years ago?
4.5 years ago. Yeah, I'll put it on the stream. This was back in the old FCS days, back when you were still on 2D. Alright, here we go.
Oh, right. Yeah.
This is Tbilisi. And back when we had center point in the middle of the two runways. It was a pretty good one.
Not too bad. That's actually really good. Yeah.
So that means it's entirely possible that some of these... Yeah, okay, here we go. This is what it used to look like for me.
Yep.
I think this was this is my test stream of VR.
Huh. Wild.
Back in 2021, yeah. Yeah, crazy, dude. I'm taking
Oh,
huge
you can...
risks by. Oh, dude, this was an
Yeah.
actual show. This was Marianas.
Oh, you're right. I don't like that field. Oh, and must be on some server because there's that green smoke, which we would never put on.
This is the old FCS too. Yeah, man. The new FCS is so much better. Like,
Yeah,
I know
this
it has
looks
its
mushy.
problems, but
Yeah.
oh man, back when I was, oh man,
Okay,
no foveated rendering.
Mhm.
We've learned so much since then.
All right, Batumi. So we're gonna take off from. Oh, hold on. This is Tbilisi. I don't want this.
We take off from Kataisi?
No, we take off from Kobuleti.
All right, yeah. What am I looking at here?
Caucasus ships.
Oh, jeez, we were so bad.
Load static template. What? Flight line. Oh, you have a log boom too.
Mm-hmm.
Which I can use. Brand.
Oh my gosh. Oh, dude, I gotta show you.
All right, put it on the stream. The stream can't see it.
All right, here we go. Want to see how things used to be?
Is this a debrief?
Huh? Yeah, this is a. It doesn't have us talking, but it's a debrief video. And also, I think these videos are kind of corrupted at this point. They're MP4s.
Oh, yeah.
This looks like the MRT, the setup for the MRT, but I think it then becomes the opposing MRT fairly quickly. But we'll see. Back when I wasn't setting my radar altimeter warning. I had my
Oh,
lights
dude,
on.
had some English on that thing.
Yeah, this is back when I just flat pulled because with the old FCS you could.
Uh-huh.
Ugh.
Definitely gotten way better. Where the hell am I?
Up there.
There I am.
God. That was awful.
Anytime this year, Leb. Jeez.
Oh my gosh, dude. Here's the funny thing, though. Whenever we switch roles, we revert back to this level of skill.
That's true.
Oh,
We got better than this by the time we did the third of the last reverse shows.
yes, I agree. And given like another set of 6, I think that we would have been like into acceptable status. Oh, couldn't fast forward because this was like all she wrote for the CPU.
Can you scrub the video file?
We're fairly separated on this opposing MRT lineup, and we're definitely not over center point. Oh, jeez. Oh, it's so bad. Alright. Oh, look at that climb in the turn. Alright, let's see where we hit here. I don't know where you're going.
I don't know where I'm going.
You got full cans in, dude.
I do, yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Are we just straight smoked off?
Yep.
There's no clear.
I don't know where you're going.
And now what am I doing?
I don't know what you're doing, dude. Oh, we had some traffic. All right, we're coming in now for the horizontal rolls. Theoretically, who knows what we were doing at this point? It looks like the vertical pitch to me.
Does kind of, doesn't it?
Nope, horizontal
That's
rolls.
horizontals.
Oh, right, because we could do them flat back then.
All right, this is only left smoke on, yeah.
Huh?
What the hell?
Wait, what? What am I watching? Wait. Wait, horizontal rolls into the vertical rolls? What are you...
Or did I just die? What the frick am I doing?
I don't know.
What am I doing?
What is happening? What is that?
I don't
Okay.
know.
There's the sneak. Oh, I broke the sound barrier. There he is. Oh, he's so slow. You're like doing like 200 knots. Oh, man. See, folks, this is why you practice. Because you can go from this to what you just saw tonight, which we admit is not a great show, but comparatively. Oh, what? Okay.
4-point should be.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Sure, kinda.
Kinda. And then here. Oh, okay. Or clearing ish. Hey, that was a decent one. No rollout, but we'll take it.
Smoke on the whole time too.
All right, coming in for the vertical pitch, I'm assuming. Yep. Like 20, right? We already did the vertical pitch once, so we're doing it again.
I think I must have got confused about what maneuver was what or something. Wow, that roll was so snappy.
jeez.
I guess that's how we used to do it. We
Yeah.
get up there, we just roll it right over.
And we just hork it as hard as we could. Somebody died massively, but
Those are the old death flames too. Oh my gosh.
early roll.
33 right.
Oh,
Like, wide as hell.
oh.
How do you do that?
I don't know, but you did.
I don't think I could have done that if I tried now. I mean, like, it's also the track
Okay,
file thing.
what
but
is
still.
happening? Oh, I'm trying to rejoin on you for for the duck over roll. I think it's what's happening. Oh, you're right. Is it? I don't know what it is.
No, I think it's the tuck over roll or tuck under roll.
Okay.
We smoked on or something.
Yeah, it's the tuck under roll. Oh, we yugged the living poo out of that.
So that's the wander.
No, that's the tuck under roll.
Oh man, that's really bad.
That's the tuck under roll, my friend. I don't know where we're going.
Really
And what? Where am I going? Where are you? What is happening?
No, I'm trying to rejoin on you probably. What? Oh, did we not? Maybe we came at it from the other direction or something?
Yeah, we did. Yep, here we go. Oh, this is wild.
This looks like a high alpha.
This
is a high alpha.
Wild. If you're wondering, folks, we've done so much research. Mountains of research. We've each been to like 3 or 4 shows. We've improved so much since this.
So Adam has watched more of these than I have. These show tapes and videos that I have. But maybe by a factor of, well, not even by a factor, probably by like, well, I don't know, maybe 10 total hours. But I think each of us, if you take off Adam's lead, probably close to 500 hours of show videos
Yeah.
of like real Blue Angel shows with full comms if we could get them.
Yep. Oh, we're sinking.
We've
We are sinking right now. We are in death's door at the moment. And I still push out of that.
I was
Oh my
sinking
gosh.
down,
Sorry.
sinking down.
You're not
I mean,
pulling
we're
the
so
60.
high. You were fine. No, I think I used to pull like 40 or 45 or something.
You just knife edged it.
Yeah, I just got here.
Alright, we're behind the kind of set up something.
We're way the hell behind.
Oh.
What are we doing?
No idea.
Let's overshoot McOvershootness.
Okay. Are we... I think we're just... Okay, that's the delta pitch up to land.
I was so out.
You were like a quarter mile behind.
In some other formation, some that happened to be
Oh
following you.
my gosh. The sink rate. Crunch. Oh, dude,
Bitch, watch mine.
you were
Mine's
just
gonna be miserable.
absolutely falling out of the sky. Someone firing off flares next to us. Boing. Wow. Okay, that's
That was
enough
awful.
of that.
That was really bad.
Let's just say, folks,
We load that all. Da, 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 da.
4.5 years ago, we were not as good as we are now. Oh, man. Alright, well, lessons learned. We should
All
pat
good
ourselves
things,
on the
all
back
good
every
things.
once in a while. And you have to start somewhere. So, folks, that's a reminder to you. If you want to learn how to do this, you're not going to be as good. This sounds really conceited and stuck up. I promise you it's not. You're not going to be as good as we are when you start. And that's going to be disheartening. But just remember, we started where at what you just saw. So, we have an entire video series on how to learn how to do this, on how to rejoin, on how to fly form, on the parameters you should be following behind the crowd to set up for good maneuvers, what you should be doing for the maneuvers in the box. But that's going to take hours of practice. Because what is now muscle memory for us, I mean, you go watch those videos. Some of those in-cockpit briefings that we're giving you of all the details are an hour long. And that all goes by in about 15 seconds. So, all that is to say, if you want to do this, realize it's going to be a huge commitment, but it's honestly, if you are a Blue Angels nerd, like we are, it's totally worth it.
Oh, I made an error in judgment.
Uh-oh.
How do I? Oh no. All right, fine. Fine.
Well, as BrotherLeb goes about reconstructing the mission he just destroyed and forgot to save, we're going to stop the recording. We'll see you next time for the second of our show sites that we ever flew at, which is the Batumi shoreline. And we look forward to seeing you there, and we'll see how we do. It's been a while since we've done a remote show, and it's been over a year since we've done this show site, so this will be an adventure. We'll see you then.